zoo today. We do have a few rules before we get started. It's no eating, no drinking except for water, no smoking, and no standing while aboard Zoomobile. I'm going to be taking you to the three major areas of the zoo: Canadian domain first, African savanna second, Americans and Thunder Track third. Whole tour will take about a half hour. On our right hand side we have the Himalayan tar. As the name suggests, they're found in the Himalayan mountains, anywhere from Bhutan to Kashmir. These guys are incredibly agile climbers. At as young as 2 days of age, they can actually climb all the way to the top of these steep rocks that you see here. They post a sentinel on top of the rocks to watch out for predators from below. However, it's kind of counterintuitive because the predators actually hunt them from above, so they don't see them coming. They have little grooves in their feet that help them climb these steep rocks, and they have been known to do backflips and 360s as they go up and down the rocks. On our right hand side, here's an animal that will never do a backflip, the Indian rhinoceros. You can see one of them right there. I believe that's our female Ashakiran. We also have a male Vishnu, but you won't see them both in the same enclosure at the same time because they are a very solitary creature. They look like they'd be a big, slow animal, but these guys can actually reach a top charging speed of around 60 kilometers an hour, which is a lot faster than I can run. We're now about to cross over a bridge, has about 100-foot drop, so if you play light, close your eyes like their driver does. Up on the right hand side here we have our gaur. The gaur is the largest member of the bovine family. It's a fancy way of saying the biggest cow in the world. The two closest to us, that is Forrest on the right and Wilma on the left, and then the one in the back, that's Flower. Flower is the mother of Wilma. They don't look that big from the Zoomobile, but if you were to stand right next to one of them, the hump on their back is around 7 feet tall, and they're over 2,000 pounds. So these guys are massive, massive cows. They aren't as big as these next guys though. These are the African elephants, the largest land animal. We have three lovely ladies here at the zoo, Toka, Aringa, and Tika. Tika's very special to us. She's the first African elephant born in North America, right here at the Toronto Zoo. I believe this one is Tika right now. Can't see the other side of her head, that's all I can tell. You notice she's throwing mud and water on her. Yeah, that's Tika. She will sometimes throw mud or dust on herself. That is to help act like a sunscreen and cool her down. Elephants actually work in a matriarchal society, meaning there's a mother up the top of the group that makes all the big decisions, much like how it works at home with you guys. Coming up on the left-hand side, you get a nice view of the Root Valley. It is a national park. It takes up about 710 acres of this beautiful land. It actually makes us the third largest zoo in the world, behind San Diego and North Carolina. Despite the fact that San Diego is bigger than us, we actually have more animals here at the Toronto Zoo, so we come to a zoo for animals, not land. Coming up ahead on our right-hand side, we've got Serengeti, Michigan. You get a unique experience. You can spend the night here. You get a guided night tour as well as a private Zoomobile tour from camp. You also get to meet some of the keepers, go behind the scenes of some of the animals. And you also even get to see some of the grass. You also get to sit around the campfire, roast marshmallows, tell stories, see all the animals at night when the nocturnal animals are awake. It's a very cool experience. For more information, just check out guest services on your way out or visit us online at TorontoZoo.ca. Also on our right-hand side, that is our champagne area where you can buy or bring your own lunch. They do serve different types of African cuisine as well as more traditional stuff like hot dogs and fries. There is also a licensed patio right across from it. You can overlook the rhinos while you enjoy a nice, cool alcoholic beverage for all those parents looking to escape their noisy children. As we come around this corner though, if you look to your left-hand side, you'll notice that blue sign there. That advertises our We're located in our Australasia Pavilion, which is closest to our third stop, the American stop, full of many different exotic aquatic creatures like seahorns, jellyfish, lionfish, and of course the real-life version of the eel. Coming up ahead on our right-hand side, though, this is our fastest land animal. They are the cheetahs. They do have the largest enclosure here at the zoo, so more often than not, we don't actually see them as you drive by. They're very difficult to spot. If you do want to see the cheetahs up close, they are at our second stop, the African savanna stop. They have 4 viewing areas, so you're pretty much guaranteed to see one. We have 2 cheetahs on exhibit at a time. These guys can reach speeds of up to 110 kilometers an hour, which is incredibly fast, faster than most cars doing the limit on the 401. They actually have an acceleration of 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. It's actually faster than most cars, 3 legal cars. even faster than some sports cars. If you're wondering what the fastest animal in the world is, it's actually a Canadian bird, the peregrine falcon. It dives incredibly fast. It's like a bullet coming out of the sky. Speaking of Canadian animals, though, we are coming up with this on the tours, our Canadian domain stock. Personal favorite animal here, as well as our cougar, lynx, wood bison, elk, bald eagle, moose, wapiti, and of course the exotic raccoon. If you want to leave us at this point on the tour, you have to please remain seated until we come to a full and complete stop at the station. Exit on your right hand side only. If you want to see the Canadian animals, you're just going to have to get off. Head straight ahead, past the Zoomobile down the hill to your left. On behalf of your driver and myself, we hope you enjoy the rest of your day here at the Toronto Zoo. Everybody just joined us in Canada, your driver at the front is in. My name all the way at the back is Matt. We're going to be taking you on a tour of the zoo today. No eating, no drinking except for water, no smoking, and no standing while aboard Zoomobile. On our left hand side, that's our Grizzly Bear Trail, leads down into our Canadian domain. It is a steep hill, people love to complain about it, but I just tell them it's great exercise, it's good for your calves and glutes. And it is where all of our Canadian animals are, which is actually my favorite portion of the zoo. You can see all the animals in their most natural habitat. It's also home to my favorite animal, the grizzly bear. As we climb up this hill, though, the enclosure at the top on our right-hand side is home to our ostrich couple, Orville and Miss Ellie. Orville has the black feathers, Miss Ellie has the brown feathers. The reason for this is because the males actually guard the nest at night, so the black feathers help with camouflage, and the females guard the nest during the day. Kind of helps it blend into their surroundings a little bit better. They are the third fastest land animal behind the cheetah and the antelope, but also the fastest animal on two legs, and they're not out there right now. If you look way off in the distance, yes, that's better than I do. Way off in the distance on the right-hand side, there's red rocks. This is where our white lions are located. If you haven't seen our white lions yet this year, I suggest you do. They have grown up a lot since last year when we got them. They do have a full mane now. It's very cool to see. We are coming up to our second stop on the African, which is the African stop. Most of the total animals here at the zoo are actually at this stop. Most amount of animals for the least amount of walking. We have bears, penguins, cheetahs, giraffes, elephants, hippos, rhinos, and many, many more. We should ask that you please quickly come to a full and complete stop at the station. Exit on your right hand side and head towards the back of the Zoomobile. Head towards the back to get back in. Hey, welcome back everybody. If you joined us in Africa, your driver at the front is Zan. My name all the way at the back is Matt. We're going to be taking you on tours today. Before we get started, just no eating, no drinking except for water, no smoking, and no standing while we're in Zoomobile. On the right hand side, these are the Maasai giraffe, tallest land animal. Males can reach up to 6 meters, females 5.5. The way to tell the difference between the two is by looking at their ossicles. We have two females here, so you're not going to be able to tell the difference very easily. But the females have little tufts of black hair on their ossicles, while the males do not. They're actually bald. The one closest to us there, that was Janetta, and then the one bending over having a drink of water, that's Twiga. The way I can tell the difference by looking at their spots, the older the giraffe gets, the darker the spots get. Another interesting fact about those spots is actually how they expel the excess heat out of their body. So if you were to shine an infrared camera on a giraffe, you'd actually still see all of those spots because all of the blood vessels lead to them. And for all the mothers on board, they can appreciate this. The giraffe mom is pregnant for 18 months and gives birth to a 6-foot, 200-pound baby. I am a small giraffe baby, roughly about the same height as me, but a bit heavier. They do get back at their young ones, though. It is a 2-meter drop into the world when they give birth. They do give birth standing up, so take that, little one. We're about to cross over a bridge which goes over our old monorail system. It has been closed down and replaced by the Zoomobile that you're riding now. If you do remember the old monorail, it has been closed for, I believe, around 19 or 20 years now. It was closed down in 1993. The Blue Jays were world champs and I was 2 years old, so it was a better time. On our right-hand side, you can see a nice panoramic view of the Tundra Trek. Those blue rocks off in the distance, those are home to our polar bears. We have 3 polar bears. The Inukshuk is our male, and Aurora and Nikita are females. They're actually twins. If you guys want to see the polar bears, they're coming up on our next stop. Coming up on the right-hand side, these are our Mayan Temple Rubens, which are home to our Jaguar. We actually have a brother and sister duo here, Luca and Zambuca. Luca's the more traditional-looking one with the yellow coat and the black rosettes. Zambuca is the all-black one. She's all-black because she's melanistic, which actually means the opposite of albino. Many people like to confuse her with a black panther. There's actually no such thing as a panther. It's just a general term for all the large cats. Lions are actually panthers as well, because that is just like the Latin term. Next to the jaguars, that's the spider monkeys, and next to the spider monkeys is the flamingos. Flamingos aren't actually born pink, they're born white and turn pink after eating a diet of shrimp, crab, and other crustaceans. If you ever see a flamingo standing on one leg, that actually means they put half their body to sleep. They're capable of doing that. They spend most of their day standing up, so they have to take these half naps. We're now entering into the operations complex portion of the zoo, only accessible by staff or by the Zoomobile. On our left-hand side, behind all the trees in that painted booth there, that is our barn, where all the vehicles are maintained and rotated. It's also where the Zoomobile sleeps overnight. We're at the wild and exotic horse and dodge lead here. This is also our animal nutrition and animal health buildings are located. Our nutritionists create over 400 meals every single day for all the animals. The largest diet meal at the zoo is for our male gorilla, Charles, eats over 30 pounds of fresh food every single day. We also have a fully equipped animal hospital as well as a fully equipped mobile animal hospital. In case the animal is too big to come to us, such as an elephant, we do have to go to that. As we come up to our third stop here, we are coming up to our American stop. This is home to our polar bears, Arctic wolves, and foxes, snowy owl, reindeer. It's also home to our American pavilion, the otters, beavers, many different types of reptiles are located. It's also where our Australasia pavilion is located, where the Great Barrier Reef, kangaroos, polar dragons. Welcome back, everybody. If you just joined us at the Americans, your driver up front is Zan, my name all the way at the back is Matt. We're going to take you on through the zoo today. 2 roads before we get started. No eating, no drinking except for water, no smoking, and no standing while we're Zoomobile. On our left-hand side, between all of the trees, our big glass house is our greenhouse here. So all of our plants are grown and nursed. Our plant collection here at the zoo is actually valued at more than our animal collection. Kind of makes you wonder what they grow in there, but I assure you it is all legal. If you look at any of the pavilions today, the plants in those pavilions are actually native to geographic locations. So if you're in the African rainforest pavilion, the bush next to it might actually be worth more than the animals in the enclosure. On the right-hand side, you might be able to see some of our male physical horses. When you didn't see them, don't be too upset. We're going to see our females shortly. Later on in the tour, you'll get a much closer view of them, and they do look the exact same. You can trust me on that one. But as you take this right-hand turn and come along this path, our first animal coming up on our right-hand side is going to be our Barbary ape. Now their name is a little bit misleading. They're not actually apes, they're monkeys. The way to tell the difference is that an ape has no tail, the monkey has a tail. These guys, when they were discovered, they thought, they don't have a tail, let's call them an ape. But then when they researched them a little bit more, they discovered they have a very, very small vestigial tail. So they are, in fact, monkeys. They're more closely related to the macaque type of monkey. They are a little bit difficult to spot. Usually they're sitting in the shade to look along the edges of their enclosure. We have Rocky, Leah, and Blue in this enclosure. Blue is actually a cancer survivor, missing one leg, but he is completely cancer-free now. He does get around just fine. He is my boy Blue. If anyone watches the movie Old School, they get that joke. On the left-hand side of the house, these are the bulls. They are an Asiatic wild dog. They look a lot like a North American red fox, but they are a wild dog from Asia. It's spelled D-H-O-L-E. They look really, really cute and adorable. Looks like you'd want to bring one home. But these guys are actually very ferocious hunters. They'll chase off much larger predators like tigers and bears. Anything that can chase away a tiger scares me. As we come around this corner, we are approaching our Eurasia drive-thru. This is a new portion of the Zoomobile tour. Only been in operation this year. So if you haven't ridden the Zoomobile yet this year, this should be all new to you. And if you haven't ridden the Zoomobile at all in your life, everything's new to you. It's a win-win either way. But as we go through these gates, I'm going to have to remind you to please remain seated and remain in the vehicle at all times. If you have any food, which you shouldn't, because there's no eating on the Zoomobile, just keep it wrapped up and closed. This is the part of the tour that reminds everybody of Jurassic Park. No? Nobody? If you haven't seen that movie, go home and watch it. That's your homework for today. It's a great movie. I believe it was recently released in 3D too, so if you're one of those new 3D nuts, you can also enjoy the movie. Really, eh? As we wait for this gate to close, I can start talking about the Przewalski horses, seeing as how they're nice and closed. These guys are the only breed of wild horse. They are never ever domesticated. They are a bit smaller than your average domestic horse because they were never bred for size or strength. They are a bit larger than a pony though. You might notice that they all look very, very similar in size, shape, and color because at one point back in the 1700s, there's as few as 17 of these guys left in the entire world. Only 17. They're only alive in zoos. But due to breeding efforts, we actually got their number up over 2,500. They're re-released back in the Gobi Desert, so they're no longer extinct in the wild. They're kind of a success story here at the zoo. You're wondering why we split them up into a male and a female herd. This is actually how it works in the wild. One dominant male travels with the males and one dominant male travels with the females. Whenever the two herds meet up, the two dominant males fight it out. Whoever wins goes with the females, whoever loses goes with the males. That's how it works in the wild, so that's how it works at the zoo. It kind of makes our human dating seem a little bit easier, or harder, depending on how you look at it. But those were because we'll have some horses. The enclosure that we're in right now will have mouflons, I believe, later on in the summer. We're still slowly introducing animals to be ready to drive through. They have to be used to the Zoomobile and all these people coming through. If you don't know what a mouflon is, it's a mountain sheep. They're the ones with the big curved horns that like to ram their heads against each other. You've probably seen them on Planet Earth and National Geographic. If you haven't, go home and Google them. You have lots of homework coming from the Zoomobile tour today. You have to watch Jurassic Park and Google mouflon. We're about to enter into the yak enclosure. Yaks are native to the Eurasian mountains. They're used by the nomadic tribes there because they can carry a large amount of weight on their backs. They are incredibly short-footed because of their very, very short legs. They can climb up and down steep slopes without slipping or falling. And you may notice that they have really long, shaggy fur, which actually allows them to survive temperatures below -40 degrees Celsius, which is very, very cold. Their hair actually never ever stops growing, so when they get older, they'll actually start to trim over it. We like to trim them and give them haircuts so that they look better for the Zoomobile, and so they don't trip over them. I'm not sure if they style it in any particular way. You guys are going to get a really close-up view of one of them, as long as he doesn't block the Zoomobile. We recently had a yak born here, I believe. I don't know if it's out in the enclosure yet. They might still be keeping it with its mother in a different enclosure away from the Zoomobile. I believe they named it Amy, so we do have a new yak named Amy. The ones in this enclosure right now are Zodi, Hudson, and St. Hubert, or Hubert if you don't prefer the French accent, whichever you like. I like calling them Hubert just because it sounds funny. Yak are actually the second largest cattle, so we have the largest and the second largest here at the zoo. Now as we wait for this gate to open, we're going to continue on. That was the Eurasia drive-thru. Like I said, we're going to try to get more animals in there throughout the summer. We're also going to try to put in the Bactrian camels. If you don't know what a Bactrian camel is, they're the two-humped camels. Easy way to remember that. Capital B for Bactrian has two humps, much like they did. The other types of camels are going to be coming up ahead on our left. These are the dromedary camels. These guys have one hump. These guys are also the camels that give you camel rides up at the front of the zoo. So if you guys have ridden a camel before, or if you're interested in that, you can check that out. It's right next to our dish shop. I guess these guys have the day off here on the left-hand side. The common misconception about camels is that they contain water in those humps on their back. It is in fact fat. They do come from a desert climate, so they have to go long periods of time without eating. That's why they live off those fat stores on their back. It also helps them keep them cool because all the fat goes to those humps on their back as opposed to building up in different areas along their body, which would actually cause them to overheat in the desert climate. Have you ever heard anyone say that they got spit on by a camel? That's some good news and bad news. The good news is it's not spit. The bad news is it's vomit. They can actually projectile vomit 14 feet away. That's why I drive over to guys go forward. See if we'll play target practice here. So you're driving. Like you're ready. Coming up on ahead on our left-hand side, these are going to be our kids zoo and show animals. They are featured in the Wildlife Animal Show. I believe it should be running now. I'm not sure if it's open yet for the summer or not. So we have our Scooter, our alpaca, both the alpaca, and Sterling, our miniature donkey. That's Scooter right up close. The white alpaca. Looks like he got sheared recently, so he kind of has a goofy haircut. If you're wondering why we keep an alpaca and a donkey together, they're actually the best of friends. They literally are always hanging out together. I don't think I've ever seen them separated. Coming up on the left and the right, this is the new Panda area. On the left is the Panda Orientation Center. You walk through that tent before coming into the Panda Experience Center, which is on the right. We have two pandas, Urshun and Dave Mao. Urshun means double smooth. Not sure why it means that, but I thought it was funny, so I like mentioning it in my commentary. Oh, you can actually see one. Just sitting under the little logs there, munching on some bamboo. That's all pandas do is eat bamboo. That's literally all they do. They are here for 5 years, so if you guys didn't get a chance to check them out today or it's too busy, you have 5 years to see the pandas, so don't worry. They're not going anywhere. But on the left-hand side, this is a splash pad. Great way to cool down on a hot summer day. It's not too hot today, and it is only open on weekends until the July long weekend. So it is no pool here, so if you can't swim, it's not a big deal. You can wear whatever you want. You can wear a business suit or a bathing suit, as long as you're wearing something. No birthday suits allowed. We're just waiting for some people to cross the road here. Our driver's such a nice guy, he's going to let the pedestrians cross. Good guy, Dan. We're now entering here the Core Woods, which is actually the central portion of the Toronto Zoo. This is where all the pavilions are based around. Straight ahead of the zoo we're right about now, that's Africa. Behind that's Canada. To our left is the parking lot and the main entrance. Behind us is America's the Tundra Trek, so we are actually in the central portion of the zoo right now. They're all natural, mature maple forests. We leave the trees to decompose in their natural state to provide nutrients to the new existing trees. You might see animals in here like squirrels, chipmunks, raccoons, deer, coyotes, maybe even a Sasquatch. You never know. We also have vernal pools in those points on the left and right-hand side coming up. These are programs started by the Toronto Zoo to aid in the breeding of frogs and other amphibians. The amphibian population has actually been approaching its first mass extinction since the dinosaurs, so we like to prevent that. As we come around this corner, it always tells me we are coming up to our final stop on the tour, which is our main station stop. There's also a stop for Himalaya, so if you guys want to check out the reticulated python, orangutan, or the Sumatra tigers, which are very cool, I highly suggest you guys go and check them out. They're just over the bridge that we're about to go under right now. On behalf of your driver and myself, we hope you enjoyed the ride on the Zoomobile today. We hope you join us again sometime. Lastly, please remember to see until we come to a full and complete stop. Exit on your left-hand side only. The right-hand side is the service road, so other zoo vehicles may pass us. So exit on your left-hand side only. Enjoy the rest of your day at Toronto Zoo.